Carly. I just wanted to share this quick video with you to show you what you need to do for your makeup work. So if you go to the Schoology page for second block, you just need to click on this folder labeled makeup work, click on it, and then I have a specific folder for you. So you'll just click on that folder and you'll be able to see everything that you need to do. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the different assignments so that way you know how to go ahead and get started. So what we've been working on in class is a chapter review project for the summer reading. So you have been assigned chapter 7. What that means is you are going to first read chapter 7 and then create a Google Slides presentation with information from the chapter. And then you're going to present your slides to the class through Flipgrid. And I'm going to explain that a little bit later on. I'm not going to have you worry about that right now. What I want you to work on now is the project itself. So included here is a PDF of the text if you need it. And then this is what you need to include in your Google Slides presentation. You need a title slide, so that needs to include your assigned chapter, a picture of Frederick Douglass, and your name. It can be in paragraph form. The chapter summary is your next requirement, and this can be in paragraph form or in bullet points. I prefer bullet points personally, but if you do paragraph form, that's okay. Next, you need to include any interesting and important quotes within your chapter. So this is 2 to 3 interesting and important quotes, as well as a brief explanation of why they are interesting and important. After that, you need to make sure you talk about significant people. So you need a list and description of the people mentioned in your assigned chapter. And then you need to explain who they are in relation to Frederick Douglass. So for example, is the person mentioned one of Douglass's slave owners? Is it another slave? Is it his mom? Is it someone else, right? So you're going to list those significant people. Something to keep in mind here is just because a person is mentioned in the chapter, it doesn't necessarily make them significant. If Douglass doesn't talk about that person several times, you don't need to mention them within the presentation. Next, you need to answer the specific question for your chapter. So don't worry about any of the other questions for any of these other chapters. You just need to answer the question for chapter 7. So I would paste that question in a Google slide and then answer it below. And then finally, you need 2 to 3 open-ended discussion questions based on your chapter. So this can be, there's an example here. Why do slave owners want to destroy the natural bond between slave children and their mothers? So based on whatever you learned in chapter 7, you'll create those 2 to 3 open-ended discussion questions. You do not have to answer them. These are for your classmates to answer. All right, so that is what you need to include in terms of content. The Google Slides presentation requirements, you need 8 to 10 slides. So typically there's a lot of information, so it's really easy to spread that information out amongst those slides. I'm not super picky about you only having 10 slides. If you need more, that's fine, but you need to have at least 8. Make sure your spelling, punctuation, and grammar are accurate throughout, so check and double check that. You need at least 3 pictures throughout. Now this can be a picture of Douglass, these can be pictures of anything from the time period really that is associated with this book. So anything that you can find that's associated with the time period and associated with Douglass will work. You need to make sure there's a logical flow of information. You need appropriate formatting, so make sure everything is readable. The content on your slides needs to be accurate as well. And then the presentation requirements, so this is where I'm referring to that Flipgrid. You need at least 5 minutes of presentation content. So when you record your Flipgrid, and we'll talk, like I said, talk more about that later. Once you record it, it needs to be at least 5 minutes in length. I want you guys to avoid reading directly off the slides, and then make sure you're speaking clearly and with appropriate volume. And then just keep in mind that this is a test grade, so I will give you several days to work on it. And so yeah, that's what you will be doing and working on. I'll go back to your folder and show you what some of these other items are here. So your graphic organizer, this is just to help you keep that information that I told you that was required in your presentation. That's just to keep that information organized. And so if I click on it, you'll be able to see that it allows you some space to kind of organize your thoughts and to include the information that's going to be needed in that Google Slides presentation. Now, this is not required. This graphic organizer is not required. However, I highly recommend filling it out for two reasons. First of all, it's just easier to go ahead and have that information before you try to create your Google Slides. And then also, you get 5 bonus points on your project if you complete it. So it's kind of worth doing because you have to find that information anyway. Next, you will see the Google Slides presentation. So if I click on this, this is where you will create those Google Slides that I was talking about. So this first slide is just directions from me telling you how to add more slides to the presentation. You can delete the directions slide after you're done with your presentation. And then it just is, there's some reminders here about, you need the 8 to 10 slides, your title slide should be your first slide, all that good stuff. And then if I go back, the last thing I wanted to show you is what we did yesterday in class, which is a slide critique activity. So everyone kind of analyzed different slides. Some are good, some are bad, some are horrible. And so if you click here on the assignment itself, you will be able to access the slideshow gallery. So we use this slideshow gallery, and then what you would do is look at each slide and then tell me what you noticed, okay? And then at the bottom here, there were some reflection questions after you've gone through that slideshow gallery. So I'll show you what the gallery looks like. Click right here. So this will pull up all of the different slides that I had everybody look at eventually. Okay, so this is slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And as you can see, they're all very different. So you're just going to tell me what you notice on each slide, and really pay attention to these elements: fonts, text, colors, spacing, backgrounds, capitalization, readability, all that good stuff, okay? So that is all that I have for you for right now. Please let me know if you have any questions about any of the assignments, and I will see you soon.